So, hello everyone, and welcome to 4th Guwahati MuleSoft Meetup. For today, our topic is event-driven architecture for Async API, and I'm the host for this meetup. So, this is Abhishek. I am working as an associate solution architect in Epicero. I have overall of 6+ years of experience, out of which 4+ years in MuleSoft. I'm a certified MuleSoft developer and architect, a MuleSoft mentor, and leader for Guwahati and Lucknow Meetup. With us, we have Vaishnavi, who will be our speaker. Vaishnavi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Vaishnavi. I have around 4 years, 4+ years of experience, where I have around 2+ years of experience in MuleSoft, and I'm working as a solution consultant at Epicero.
Thank you, Vaishnavi. So I will just read out the safe harbor statement. Both the speaker and the host are organizing this meetup in individual capacity only. We are not representing our companies here. This presentation is strictly for learning purpose only. Organizer or presenter do not hold any responsibility that same solution will work for your business requirements. This presentation is not meant for any promotional activities. Next slide, please. Some housekeeping. So we are recording this session. So a recording of this meetup will be uploaded in the event page within 24 hours. And if you have any question, just feel free to put it on chat, or I have also given you mic access, so you can unmute and you can ask your question anytime in between. And at the end, like once the meetup is done, you will get a feedback form. So it's a request from us. Please fill up that form to suggest us or to give us a feedback, like what improvement we can do, what would be the next topic you would like to us to present in our meetup. So it is very important for us to have your feedback. So please fill the feedback form and send it to us. So all yours, Vaishnavi, you can start.
Yeah. So today we are going ahead with the event-driven architecture, and we'll see uh, how we can make use of the AnyPoint platform to support this event-driven architecture. So initially we'll be going through like what is event-driven architecture, and we'll get to know what it is about, what are its advantages, disadvantages, and then we'll see one or two examples, and then we'll go to the Async API, which is the MuleSoft provided AnyPoint um, option for us to implement this event-driven architecture, and then we'll just go with a small demo, like how we can create that Async API in AnyPoint platform, and then we'll speak about the benefits of it. Yep. So what is event-driven architecture? So if someone likes to speak about this, like it will be better if it is more interactive.
Does anyone want to share their idea, like what they understand about event-driven architecture?
Yep.
I can give you a very good example we use in everyday life. Uber. Uber is
Yeah.
totally based out of event-driven architecture. It's one of the best architectures you will see around event-driven architecture.
Yeah. So that's the example which I took in the next slide.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. So event-driven architecture, in general terms, we can define this as um, we can say that this event driven architecture is used to communicate between many services which are decoupled, like which do not have to know about the existence of the sender for the receiver, or the receiver do not know the existence of the sender. It just have to like this is all about the communication with events. So if any action happens, that action can be a new event created or an update to an object. So an event is triggered from consumer to the from produce, like the producer will generate the event and the consumer will consume the event. So ideally, this event-driven architecture will have three major components, which are producers, routers, and consumer. So if we see here in this diagram, so this all the application A, B, and C. These are the event producers. So these events will be routed to the message broker, and this message broker will filter the events if required, and then it will send to the required consumers. Like the channels can be different, like it can be a queue or a topic or whatever it is based on the use case. So this is a general not a definition ideally, but this is the idea behind this. So what is the need for event driven architecture from different perspectives? So initially the discovery. So how do we know that there is a channel which is existing to communicate with that service? So from business perspective, so we'll know that with this event driven architecture, with a proper architecture, so we'll know that how do we capture this new point of data in real time and how to process that. And from IT perspective, so what is the channel which is used to route this data from one point to the other point? So in terms of governance, so from business perspective, so we will know all the details, like how to leverage if there is any new technology and which will improve our business, so we can use that, and we can add all the details of that in our event driven architecture, so that everyone who are using that will know that we are doing this and we are using this. And for IT, so how to consistently manage infrastructure, because with this event driven architecture we'll know that what is happening and what needs to be monitored, and what infrastructure is needed for that. And visibility, so with events generated, so we will know at what time we'll see the web traffic surge, or with these events we can monitor many things and we can analyze many things. And from IT perspective, in terms of visibility, so we know when the unusual events start occurring, and we can analyze based on that, which will help to improve the performance, like when do we have to scale, or when do we have to uh, reduce the number of instances of our application with the events. So example, yeah, as Shiva mentioned, even I took the same cab related thing, which is quite useful in our day-to-day basis. So one this example, so assume I'm a user, which I'm trying to book a taxi or a cab. So what happens? So here, when I try to book a cab, so what happens, that message or that event will be sent to the taxi fleet service here. So taxi fleet service will listen to the customer order UI messages, and taxi fleet service will also listen to the messages which are sent by the taxi car service. So taxi car service here, it will send messages or events to the taxi fleet service continuously as per the availability of the cab or taxi. So it will send its current location. So what taxi fleet service will do then? Taxi fleet service will listen to all the events from taxi car service, saying this is the current location of the cab and this is available for now. So it will try to get the nearest cab which is available to book, and based on that it will send the estimated time of arrival for the customer, so that customer will again listen to the taxi fleet service notifications, and then customer will be able to see all the available cabs and can book the cab with this ETA. So with this what we are doing, so nothing is like everything, every other component is communicating with everything properly, and that is based on event. Like assume that if we use polling here, so it will increase lot of traffic, because whenever we don't need anything, like if customer doesn't want to book a cab now, so what is the use of polling the API again and again? So with the event generator we are trying to check, and we are trying to give the customer the proper information needed. And one more example which I can think right now is Zomato or Swiggy, right? When we place an order for food or something, so we'll be able to see the status of the food, right? It's getting prepared or it's on the way. Like we are not we are not polling that every time, but whenever it is ready, they are sending us the events, and we'll be able to track it in a proper way. So these are the examples which I thought which we would be able to relate it in our day-to-day life. So I want to speak about the issues in synchronous processing because this event-driven architecture is asynchronous in nature. So if we know about the issues in synchronous processing, so we'll be able to think in a way that if we can use event-driven architecture in our project, or like if it is useful, like we can do that if we know these issues. So around 98.5 percentage of the API polls, they do not return any new information, but they just poll, and if there is anything, then that operation will be done. But that can be done with events. Again, this is based on the use case. If that suits you, then we can go with event driven. And synchronous processing, so the coupling between the different microservices or the different services which we have, the flexibility will be limited, will get, like if we keep on doing the synchronous communication, then the flexibility to add new services will decrease because we have to integrate with all the other systems which are in place. And if a failure occurs, right, so that failure should cascade through all the couple services, and then the failure comes back to the user. And because of that, again, the response time to the customer will increase a lot. Any of these will lead to the event driven event driven architecture. So these are the things which I found which are useful to share. Yeah. So, what are the issues with event-driven architecture? So, as we said, there will be multiple developers which will work on the same use case or the same project, right? So, all the developers should know what are the existing events, because if they want to use or if they want to develop some use case, and if they don't know what is the existing event or what is the channel they are using, so it will be tough. Like it the duplication will increase, or it will be tough to use. So with without a proper event driven architecture, so we cannot do this. And IT teams lack industry standard best practices and conventions for defining machine and human readable event driven APIs. So this is where Async API will be used. Actually, that gives a well documented format for us to implement event driven architecture. So developers need to work with multiple protocols, because event driven architecture is not particular to any protocol, because that is just a format, it's a well defined document which is not related to any protocol. It can be developed with any protocol which is of the user requirement. Like if client is using Kafka, so we can like if they are using Kafka, or if they are using JMS, so we can leverage the same to do that. But there are multiple options, right? So which can be challenging uh, um, like to get use of or to get familiar with that technology. So coming to Async API in our Anypoint platform, what is an Async API? So similar to RAML, how a RAML looks like it's a well-defined document for an API to be implemented, right? So similarly, Async API is a well-defined document, or it's a well-defined, well-documented contract on how to interact with multiple services. So this is used to discover and reuse, manage, and govern events in the enterprise. And it is, as I was speaking, it's an open source and it's protocol agnostic. Like we here nowhere in the Async API will mention about what protocol this Async API is using. Like we can use whatever protocol which is suitable for the client, or which they suggest, or which we all agree upon. So in design center, yeah, we can import an existing async API specification, or we can create one. and then we can publish it in Exchange, and we can add non-managed instances. So what does this non-managed Async API is not exactly similar to RAML, where in RAML we can publish the RAML to Exchange, and we can manage that from our endpoint manager, right? So Async API is not completely similar to that. As of now, it's just a well-defined document which says how the events are communicated, like what is the type of the message or what is the name of the channel. Only this much information will be available as of now as part of Async API. It can be published to Exchange for people to view that, to go through that, but it cannot be managed from Anypoint Manager as of now. And if you try to import the Sync API project into your Anypoint Studio or Flow Designer, it doesn't support. Like it will throw an error saying that this cannot be imported, and the errors will be displayed. So this is just a well-defined document where with that document you can implement your similar to RAML. We don't have this Anypoint API kit router or something like that for Async API. So we have to implement um our own services for implementation of this event driven architecture. Any questions still here?
So, Vaishnavi, Praveen this side, one question. So, when you say, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
So, when you say it cannot be imported to Studio,
Yeah.
and how are we going to implement this async API?
Okay, so this is a document. Like if assume that you are a team of 5 people or 6 people or how many ever it is, right? So you just have to adhere to the same not only naming convention. Like you just have to know that this is the channel name, and this is the message, and this is the message which will be shared between the services, so that when you implement that in your Anypoint Studio, assume that you are listening, you have subscribed to a channel and you are listening. So what is the type of payload which you are expecting it to receive? So that will be documented in the Async API. So did I answer to that question, Praveen?
Uh, no, so I mean, I'm not very clear about the answer you provided. So, do you have any demo following up in the session?
Yeah, I have a demo of only Async API creation in the design center. Like
Okay,
this implementation is not related to like uh you cannot completely compare it with RAML, because maybe in future they will create something like Async kit router, something like that, where we can import this project to the studio and we can implement it. But as of now, there is nothing as such. But this is just a document where everyone can refer to and start the development on.
okay.
Yeah.
So, Vaishnavi, can we say that this particular async API document is for internal purpose? It's not for the
No,
customers.
no. It's for customers as well. Like assume that you are dealing with multiple third parties. Assume that you are listening to this message which some other else third party is sending you. So even they have to know, right, on which channel should they send their message on, right? So for them also, this Async API will be really useful.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and what is the message format which everyone agreed upon and everything. Yeah, all those details.
Yeah. So this is again a first design approach we have with the
Yeah,
async API as well. So we just have the feedbacks and then we put the contract for the particular
yeah,
design and then we have to implement, right?
yeah.
The only difference is from
It
RAML we
cannot be.
can
Yeah,
by automatically we can design our flows and all, but for async APIs we have to implement
yeah. True. So, what are the components of a sync API? There are three major components, which are events, channel, and transport. Events are the message or data to be shared with other services, like what is the payload and what is the type of the payload and everything. What are the fields for that message, and channels. So, channel means what is the destination, what is the name of the channel, like whether it is a publish channel or it's a subscribe channel, like whether in which terms you are sending a message or you are receiving a message. And transport is the technology that transports the message. It can be any technology. uh, so how do we similar to any other asset in the exchange, so there will be a separate filter for Async API as well. So this will be useful. Assume that you have a particular asset which you have already published, and if you have to extend it so that so you can discover it in your exchange very easily, and you can explore your event driven APIs very quickly using this. And so you can version it, like as and when your design progresses, right? You can update it similar to raml, like you can update the version of it, and you will be able to access the right API version of Async API. Going with demo, it's really a small implementation.
So, anyone, any questions before
Yeah.
we go to demo? Like, I have one from Bara. Does it mean data validation like schema in Rama? So, have you encountered that? So, Bala, if you wanna speak and elaborate about your question.
Abhishek, I have a question. Is MuleSoft mentioned anywhere that when they are going to come up with their actual implementation for the Async API? At current situation, it is of no use, right?
No
Except
use,
just
correct.
creating it.
No, as of now, I have not read anywhere like if
Yeah.
they have released any note like that when they are coming up. But like what
Problem
we
is
have.
that MuleSoft is actually trying to sell about this feature to the customers, but really customers thinking that we can do everything with this Async API feature.
Correct,
But
correct.
except defining it, nothing we can't do it,
It
right?
is. It is. We can say it present just for documentation purpose.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can say because in RAML, like how we do, we create a RAML and we create a flow out of that. But
yeah,
with Async API, it is not possible right now.
yeah. So
So
in case if you know about any roadmap, please let me know, Abhishek, offline.
sure, sure.
I'm
I
trying
will
to
let you
find
know.
out with the MuleSoft. I didn't get any answer. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I also tried to ask like, but they said like we will plan that in future, but at present there is nothing like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, even I didn't read about anything which says that about the implementation of the Sync API. And this is a small example which looks like this. So when we are trying to create this Async API, so the major thing is channels, and this is the name of the channel, which says that book trade. This is the name of the channel, and it can be a QR topic based on the scenario or based on the requirement. And I'm trying to publish a message on this channel, and that message looks like this. And the payload, the type of the payload is integer, and the minimum is 0. So all the remaining rules remain same, like you can define your own data types, and you can define your own um, examples for that. You can add anything like which we can do it in raml similar to that. And the other channel is a trade result, which is a subscribe channel, so which listens on the messages. And yeah, similar to that, the message payload is integer and the minimum is 0. So it looks something like this, and we can publish it to the exchange. And we can add the documentation. So this is ideally for documentation purpose, as discussed as of now at least. Yeah. Hmm. Yep, I'm done with the demo. Like it's really a small demo, but yeah, do we have any